This is the day we have been given. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to church. I'm Mary Beaulieu, co-chair of the parish committee, and we're glad everybody's here today. We especially welcome anyone who is joining us for the first time, or for anyone who's been coming but is not on our mailing list. If you want to fill out the form that Carrie has just put into the chat, we will make sure to get you on that list. As you all know, probably read, Pam had some surgery this week. She's doing very well, and we certainly are sending all of our thoughts and prayers to her and her family. We're glad that all is going well, but she is not here this morning. In her place, we are very pleased to welcome Paul Langston-Daley to our pulpit this morning, and looking forward to hearing what he has to say. Just a little bit more about Paul. He was ordained to the Unitarian Universalist ministry in 1997, and he served as settled, interim, and consulting minister in congregations of all sizes. He holds a master's degree in restorative practices and youth counseling from the International Institute for Restorative Practices, and he also has earned his M Div at Andover Newton Theological Society. So a very, very warm welcome to you, Paul, and thank you for being here today. Just a couple of announcements this week. We'll take a quick look at the calendar. As you will see, we are having our Love Shows Up for Justice standout today in the cold at 1 p.m. There's a morality discussion on Monday, Picture Book World Religions, RE on Tuesday, and World of New Friends on Thursday. So make sure you mark your calendar for all of those. Also, just a quick note that in addition to Pam, we have a couple other folks in our congregation, Milena and Ann Svensson, both of whom have been dealing with recovering from some health challenges of their own. And in the newsletter this week, you will have noticed that we have started a Care with Food program. And if you'd like to sign up through the Sign Up Genius to help deliver some meals to these folks, it would be greatly appreciated. And as always, we want to thank Michael and Carrie for taking care of the technology to make sure we can all get together this morning. So again, special thanks to Michael and to Carrie. At the heart of our life together is a promise of how we will be together. Our covenant expresses this promise, and we say it every week to recommit ourselves to live together in love. So if you would join me now in saying our covenant together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to cherish the living earth, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. Each week, we light a chalice, named for the cup which holds the flame. The flame symbolizes different things to each of us, but it always is a sign of our gathered community. This week especially, we give thanks for the light which shines from the first parish of Scituate, reminding us that we are not alone in our values, in our hopes, in our struggles, or in our dreams. As I light our first parish chalice, I want you all to see that I have the official chalice recovered from the church here in my home. I invite you to light your own candle. The chalice is lit.
Good morning. It's good to be with you all this morning. Our chalice, our opening words this morning are from the Reverend Kristen Harper. She writes, "Each day provides us with the opportunity to love again, to hurt again, to embrace joy, to experience unease, to discover the tragic. Each day provides us with an opportunity to live. This day is no different. This hour is no more unique than the last, except maybe today, maybe now, for the first time, maybe silently, we can share ourselves together in this space. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Our first hymn this morning is new to you all. This hymn is a Buddhist meditation prayer, and it's entitled Be Ye Lamps. And Elizabeth is going to teach this hymn to you.
Hi, everyone. So I will sing a phrase, and I invite you to sing it at home. And then I'll sing a second phrase, and you sing it at home. There are 4 phrases. And then we'll sing the whole hymn through 2 more times. Be ye lamps unto yourselves. Be your own confidence. Hold to the truth within yourselves. As to the only Lamb. Be lambs unto yourselves. Be your own confidence. Hold to the truth within yourselves. As to the only Lamb. Be lamps unto yourselves. Be your own confidence. Hold to the truth within yourselves. As to the only Lamb.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Wonderful. So our story this morning is a Buddhist story. It's the power of metta. It's a reflection on the practice from the mountain heritage. So I offer this story as an illustration of the power of the Metta Sutra, the loving kindness meditation. It is said that the Buddha first taught metta to a group of 500 monks who went into a particular and seemingly very congenial forest for a 3-month retreat during the rainy season. A forest adjacent to a village of strong supporters who offered to build 500 huts for the monks staying in during the rainy retreat, and who were also happy to keep the monks' alms bowl filled during their practice period. And so the monks moved in and began practicing their insight meditation, Vipassana. It is said that the unseen beings, the forest devas who lived there, became fearful of the monks and felt quite put out of their home when they saw that the monks weren't just visiting for a day or two. And so these forest-dwelling beings began to create frightening sounds and sights and to emit some very distasteful odors, hoping that this would make the monks leave what they considered to be their forest. And soon enough, the monks became quite terrified, which broke their concentration, samadhi, and disrupted their mindfulness. Some even developed fever and pain and dizziness in conjunction with the fear that they were experiencing. And it was all felt that it was impossible to continue the practice where they were. So they went to where the Buddha was staying and related their tale, to which the Buddha responded, "My beloved monks, Go back to exactly the same forest and practice your meditation there. The monks responded to the Buddha's words by pleading that they not be sent back to that forest, again saying it was impossible to practice there. The Buddha's response was this: "Dear monks, because you went there to practice meditation without a weapon of protection, you have encouraged many distractions and difficulties. This time, however, I will give you a true weapon of protection." And it is said at that point that the Buddha offered them the metta teaching and practice. Out of their great respect for the Buddha, the monks didn't dare contradict his wishes. So armed with the metta teaching and practice, they went back to the forest. For a while, continuing to experience fear and anxiety, they weren't sure what to do. But at the same time, they diligently and virtuously practiced metta. And soon, there were no more fearful sights or sounds. And whereas the devas had previously been hostile towards the monk, their anger and resentment disappeared. And they began to feel the monk's metta. And in fact, feelings of respect, welcome, even reverence began to be with the deva's experience, along with a sense of being connected, like with family. And the inclination arose to provide an environment of safety, to protect the monks from particular dangers that might be lurking in the forest, so they could practice their meditation peacefully. After recovering, strengthening, and deepening their concentration and open-hearted presence through practicing metta, it is said that all 500 monks at some point began practicing Vipassana meditation again, with metta as their foundation. And it's said because they were able to practice meditation calmly and peacefully, that they all became arhants, fully enlightened beings, during that rainy season of retreat. The meditation that the Buddha taught them was called the Metta Sutta, a call for enlightenment of all beings. For our anthem this morning, we offer the Metta Sutra chanted by the monks of Abhayagiri, the monastery in California. The text will be included in the chat, so you can read along as they chant this meditation.
This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be at ease, whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born. May all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world.
For our reading this morning, I'd actually like to invite you into a form of meditation, an equanimity meditation. Equanimity is a Buddhist practice centered on the opening of the heart. In many ways, it's similar to loving kindness meditation. And all of these meditations seek the well-being of all sentient beings, including oneself. Jack Kornfield writes, "Equanimity is a wonderful quality, a spaciousness and balance of heart. And although it grows naturally from our meditation practice, equanimity can also be cultivated in a very systematic way, in the same way that we have used for loving kindness and compassion. We feel this possibility of balance in our hearts in the midst of life, when we recognize that all life is not in our control. We are a small part of the great dance. Even though we may cultivate boundless compassion for others and strive to alleviate suffering in the world, there will still be many situations which we are unable to affect. Equanimity combines an understanding mind together with a compassionate heart." I invite you now, if you're comfortable doing so, to practice this meditation on equanimity with the American Buddhist teacher, Jack Kornfield. It's just a little over 5 minutes long.
The last of these practices for living that true and beautiful Buddha nature is the practice of equanimity, that innate and natural balance of heart and mind that can allow us to be at peace in the midst of all things. So for equanimity practice, let yourself sit in a comfortable posture with your eyes closed. Bring a soft attention to your breath and body until you find a quieting of the breath and the body and the mind. And then begin by reflecting on the benefits of a mind that is peaceful, that has balance and equanimity. Sense what a gift it is to bring a peaceful heart to this world. And let yourself feel an inner sense of balance and ease. And then, in the same way that the heart's intention in loving kindness is given voice through simple phrases, you can begin to repeat such simple phrases as, "May I be balanced and at peace. May I be peaceful. May my heart be at rest and balanced in the midst of all things." you can acknowledge that all created things arise and pass away, joys and sorrows, pleasant events, people, buildings, animals, nations, whole civilizations. Let yourself rest at peace in the midst of the changing world. May I learn to see the arising and passing of all nature with equanimity and balance. May I be open, balanced, and peaceful. And feeling this peace, acknowledge as well that all beings are heirs to their own karma. Their lives arise and pass according to their deeds and the conditions created by them. May I bring compassion and equanimity to the events of the world. May I find balance and peace. The happiness and suffering of others depends on their actions and not my wishes for them. I can hold them in a compassionate heart and act as best I can. But their happiness and suffering depends on their actions and deeds. May I rest in equanimity and the great natural balance of heart. May I be peaceful.
I invite you now to join us in singing number 391, Voice Still and Small. We gather together each week to care for one another, to share our lives, our stories, our hopes, our failures, our dreams, our fears. We lift those who are struggling at this time, those gig workers and artists and others without income, those who have experienced a death or other losses, those with illnesses and who are recovering. We especially lift Pam, Milena, and Anne. At this time, we also lift those who are celebrating, those who are experiencing a new joy in their living, those who have completed a task or goal, those who are recovering and now doing well. For all the joys and sorrows in this community, we are grateful to be able to share them here. I invite you now into a time of silence before we share those joys and sorrows with one another.
As Beth plays the prayer hymn again, I invite you to share your joys and sorrows with one another in the chat. If you don't have anything to share, please feel free to just read what others have written, responding if you like. Join me now in saying together our unison prayer by the Unitarian minister, Joe Barth. I invite you to repeat after me. We give thanks for being. We give thanks for being here. We give thanks for being here together.
As we continue to be physically separated from one another, many are finding it difficult to remain balanced and grounded. Our common daily activities have been interrupted now for almost a year. And with so much disruption, it's very hard to set new patterns. We don't know what the future holds. Fear grips us in moments we don't anticipate. Caution is thrown to the wind in other moments as loved ones draw close for a hug. To remain balanced, stable, centered, grounded, and connected is, well, it feels almost impossible these days. Loving kindness meditation is one way to find the ground beneath your feet, the seat beneath your seat, the innate connection that exists between us all, calm, restful, peace of mind. Equanimity practice also offers the same sense of connection and peace of mind. Gil Fronsdal writes, equanimity is one of the most sublime emotions of Buddhist practice. It is the ground for wisdom and freedom and the protector of compassion and love. While some may think of equanimity as dry neutrality or cool aloofness, mature equanimity produces a radiance and warmth of being. The Buddha described a mind filled with equanimity as abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. Equanimity is the ability to gain or take some distance or perspective. It is, as Fronsdal writes, the ability to see without being caught by what we see. When well developed, such power gives rise to a great sense of peace. I want to say that again. The ability to see without being caught by what we see. Equanimity also refers to the ease that comes from seeing that bigger picture. I sometimes refer to it as the balcony view. Colloquially, in India, the word was sometimes used to mean to see with patience. So to gain some distance from what we see, to see with patience. This is a person who has passion, but not the impatient passion of exasperation, or the fiery passion of anger, or even the rushing passion of love, at least not in any observable way. These people seem few and far between, especially now with so much polarity, so much animosity and anger and injustice. We need more groundedness and patience. Some days I long for the ability to see with patience. I am passionate in so many ways, and it often causes me to react, to speak without filter or benefit of thought. It gets me in trouble and has caused injury to those I know and love. And equanimity is something that I practice. It is something for which I strive. I have learned over the years in my meditation practice that we do have some measure of choice over the events that occur around us. We can, with practice, choose to act rather than react, to quiet that part of our brain, the amygdala, that fight, flight, or freeze response, and to engage our cognitive thinking, our cognitive brain. It is possible to pause in a moment, to gain some distance and perspective, to get above the fray and the noise, to expand our understanding, and to open ourselves to other possibilities. When we were little, many of us had parents who told us, when you're angry, count to 10. This is still a good practice when we find ourselves ramped up or in a reactionary state. Reactions come from a place that offers no filter, no checks or balances. It is that automatic fight, flight, or freeze reaction. And those reactions become habit over time, though not always useful habit. Equanimity lifts us from the intractable and allows our creativity to flow. Equanimity cools the passions. And this is where balance is rediscovered. Clarity comes and a new way can be found. One comes to the realization that we can only change our actions, not the actions of others. And in that, compassion, love, empathy, and joy can flow. The practice calls us again and again and again away from the harsh and critical, away from snap judgments without information, away from the suffering that comes with an inability to see beyond the current situation or circumstance, to see the forest through the trees. For most of us, this is a challenge at the best of times. It now seems even harder to stay centered and grounded, to bring peaceful mind to any discussion. And yet this is what we seek, what we need, especially now, as decisions we make can truly be life or death in some cases. And in a heightened state of anxiety, one rarely ever makes good choices. Buddhist author and teacher Pema Chodron writes, "Not causing harm obviously includes not robbing or lying to people. It also includes not being aggressive with our actions, our speech, our minds. Learning not to cause harms to ourselves or others is a basic Buddhist teaching on the healing power of non-aggression. Not harming ourselves or others in the beginning. Not harming ourselves or others in the middle. Not harming ourselves or others in the end is the basis of enlightened society. This is how there could be a sane world. It starts with sane citizens, and this is us. The most fundamental aggression to ourselves, the most fundamental harm we can do to ourselves is to remain ignorant by not having the courage to look at ourselves honestly and gently." Equanimity is seeking balance within ourselves, a balance between our needs and those of the community, a balance between our inner and outer lives, the balance between joy and suffering. A mind filled with equanimity is a mind filled with abundance, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. We turn again and again towards loving kindness, compassion, towards empathy and love, towards equanimity and joy, towards spiritual maturity and enlightenment. Because in doing so, we deepen our awareness of our interdependence and strengthen our connections with a prayer of peace and ease for all beings. May you find equanimity within yourself. May compassion and love be your guide. May all beings be at ease. May all beings know balance and enlightenment. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. For our final hymn this morning, we will sing Filled with Loving Kindness, number 1031 from our Teal hymnal. I invite you to join in singing.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peace.
Mary, I think you're muted.
Yep, I am.
Okay, got it.
Our service is ending, but our opportunity for service, for making real the possibilities of our lives and others' lives, continues. One of the ways we work for good is by putting our money into organizations which work for good. As always, I invite you to support the works of this church. This month as well, I invite you to support the work of Families for Justice as Healing, which advocates for currently and formerly incarcerated women and their families. Their founder, Andrea James, came to speak to us in 2014 and inspired many to support their work. They call their work Reimagining Communities. So we partner with them this month as we extend our imagination also. You may learn more about them and donate at their website. The link will be posted during Beth's music at the end of the service.
Our closing words this morning are from the writer Octavia Butler. She writes, "To shape God with wisdom and forethought, to benefit your world, your people, your life, consider consequences, minimize harm, ask questions, seek answers, learn, teach, and always remember, we are the ones we have been waiting for. Go in peace, blessed be, and amen."